Welcome to Category 5 Technology TV, episode number 395 for Tuesday, the 14th of April, 2015. It's so nice to see you. We've been receiving a ton of viewer questions over the past little while. Last week, we were really planning to tackle your viewer questions. We really want to help you out. And we ended up running short on time, and we got through 3. I think we did an effective job. Andrew Jameson was on Twitter and said that he was appreciative of the help that we gave.
Oh, good.
But tonight, we're going to try to get through that mailbag because there are more and more emails coming in to live at category5.tv. All right. Sasha Dermatis, I'm going to switch over to you. How are you?
I am well. Here's what's coming up in the category5.tv newsroom. Oh, I am well, but my screen is not.
We've had one of those kind of starts to the show tonight.
That's okay. I can recover this.
Yeah, of course.
On the fly. Let's see here. Should be working now. Yes. Here. Okay. Here we go.
Wait. Oh, Sasha, how's it going?
It's going so well. Here's what's coming up in the category5.tv newsroom. Oh, really? How can this be?
You're joking, right?
That's the code word for freeze now. Okay. I won't say the intro part anymore.
No, that's the jinx.
Yeah.
Okay,
let's see here. The FBI...
Welcome to our live broadcast, folks. Nice to see you.
The FBI is warning WordPress users to expect ISIS hacks if you don't patch your plugins.
Oh.
Ubuntu Mate has inked its first hardware deal. Amazon has sued 4 firms that pay people to produce reviews that then appear on the online retailer's site. The U.S. government has refused to let Intel help China update the world's biggest supercomputer. And LinkedIn has bought U.S. online learning business Lynda for $1.5 billion, making it the professional networking site's biggest acquisition to date. Stick around. The full details are coming up later in the show.
This is Category 5 Technology TV. Starring Sasha Dermatis, Hillary Rumble, Krista Wells, Eric Kidd, and your host, Robbie Ferguson.
This is Category 5 Technology TV. Welcome to the show. My name's Robbie Ferguson.
And I'm Hillary Rumble.
How are you?
We're wonderful over here.
Yeah, so nice to see you.
Yeah.
Funny start to the day, though. So we've fired up our camera as we always do and getting everything set up, and we set up our shots and everything, and the power supply unit on our main camera is dead. And it's fairly new, so it's under warranty, I'm sure, but we're going to have to figure that out. So we're on battery power, and at some point tonight, the camera will turn off.
Whoa.
We're going to try to avoid that strategically because, when the news is happening, I'm going to run over, I'm going to change the battery. I plugged in a battery to the charger here so that it's fully charged, and so it's kind of nuts around here at the studio because we're
like
dealing with that kind of thing. So we've never had to run the DSLR off of battery power. I would not trust it for a live broadcast unless I was a little crazy. It's like the show must go on, right? So if we have any technical problems tonight, folks, bear with us and forgive us, but we are committed to making sure that you have at least a broadcast of some sort every single week. And that's how we do things around here. 395 weeks of it.
Incredible. Unbelievable. Just like, wow. Blows my mind. Yeah. That's the beauty of live television, though, folks. We love to keep it real, do lots of wild stuff. Category5.tv is a member of the Tech Podcast Network. Did you know that? If it's tech, it is here. And you can check that out at cat5.tv/TPN. Tech Podcast Network. And we're also a member of the International Association of Internet Broadcasters. Now that website is cat5.tv/IAIB.
Sasha has coffee coming out of her
I
nose.
know.
And that one can't
I
be chalked
know.
up to technical difficulties.
That was eyeball difficulties due to my eyeball twitch I'm experiencing live on the air. Awesome.
It has been a busy week around here. Fun
Okey-doodle.
time. You were here last week. We talked about some of the stuff that we were going to be doing this past weekend. Do you want to share a little bit about what we were up to?
Yeah, for sure.
And hello to anyone who is viewing tonight that
Yes.
was not, or that was a part of the event this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome.
So, yeah, what we did was we brought a bunch of the kids that I sometimes work with who are deaf or hard of hearing and have some degree of hearing loss. And we did like a film making 101 Film Fest workshop because we will be submitting a film to the Toronto International Deaf Film and Arts Festival happening in May. So the group of kids, they learned about basics of storytelling, how to do a storyboard, basic comprehension with like how to shoot a camera, and then ultimately they created a music video.
How cool
it
was that?
Awesome.
I think one of the amazing things about having Category 5 Studio D is that we can open up to the community and welcome organizations to come and participate in our studio. And that's pretty cool. Actually, you brought a letter that arrived for us
from
today.
the gang.
You want to give that? This came to us from the kids.
Yeah.
And this is as much your thing as it is ours because you're so much a part of Category 5 TV and the studio project and being here at Studio D.
So this is what the kids said. Dear Robbie, our Film Fest music video workshop was a huge success thanks to you. Thank you so much for allowing us to use the Category 5 Technology TV studio. We loved being able to be in a real studio, use the green screen, and learn about movie making. Thank you for also helping us to film and edit the music video. We are so excited to see it and become famous. We appreciate your willingness to want to help us kids with hearing loss and teach us about media and technology. All in all, we appreciate your desire to partner with us and support us in a very real and tangible way. With thanks, the kids from the Children's Rec program.
How can we make them famous? Maybe by sharing a little footage with you at home?
I think we could do that.
Thank you for the letter. That was very kind.
Yes.
Would you like to see some clips of behind the scenes?
Check it out.
All
Let's see
right.
what we were up to.
Here we are.
They go up here. They go up here. Yeah.
What distract the movie star?
That's what they do. Nothing stained
like
movies.
There's like that close, but it is massive.
He done many times. Those two did many times close-up filming.
What I'm doing is I'm setting up the green screen shot. So we've got the chroma key, it's live chroma key, so we're actually able to take the green screen out of the shot and put any scene behind. So you see I've got a video of the Barrie waterfront here that we can use. We've downloaded a royalty-free beach shot. So I'm going to take that beach shot and I can put that right there. You see that?
Oh yeah, let's see.
And I can reposition that anywhere on the set. Now, if we have a little girl's gonna walk by. Look at, oh, there she is. Oh, she's on the beach. So if she stands in front, there's the green screen here. So I can turn that off. See that? So there she is, just a little tiny window. I'm gonna reset that so that it's full like that. And now I turn off the green, and she's actually standing on the beach.
That's awesome.
See that?
I love it.
So this is all done in real time, live. We don't have to post-process or anything. We're going to record it to disc and then we're going to edit it after the fact. So
Perfect.
that's pretty cool.
That's great.
It's almost a wrap here. Slowly getting everything together. Gonna send the kids home.
One second, not yet.
It's been a long day, but a great day.
I want to take my car.
That was fun.
That was fun. So
What a lot
thank
of
you,
fun
Robbie,
we
for
had.
all your help, for using the studio. The kids loved it. Like, they were losing their minds. They saw the green screen. They're like, we're at a real studio. We're going to be famous. Like, honestly, they loved it. And I could
It was
not have done it
adorable.
without you.
Oh, it was so much fun for them and such a great memory, I think, for everybody. So
Totally.
thrilled to be able to be a part of that. Thanks for hooking us up. That was good. And thank you to everybody who participated in the Filmmaking 101. That was a lot of fun.
Good times.
Very
Good
good.
times.
Okay, welcome to the show, everybody. I know that now we warned you off the top, we may have some technical difficulties tonight, and that's to be expected just because of some of the issues that we have had. But the show must go on, and so here we go. We've got your viewer questions.
We do.
I think if we can jump right into those, and just keep in mind if the camera shuts off halfway through the episode, I've got more batteries. I'm going to go and switch it out. So I think we'll be okay. Just bear with us as we deal with the fact that our power supply has gone out and we're running from batteries tonight. But hey, I mean, if we can do that, then we can do this from a beach somewhere. We can do
That's
this from
the goal.
maybe like a canoe. Maybe we could broadcast from the canoe. How's that sound?
I'm down for that.
If
Yeah.
the batteries hold up, then we'll know.
This is a test. Yeah,
This is,
a
that's
pilot
exactly
run
right.
Here,
This is our
so
test. Yep.
Thank you for being a part of science live on the air.
There we go.
All right. Well,
Hey,
I
guest
got some questions here. Do you want
All
to
right, let's do it.
dive
Yeah,
right
let's
in?
get right into it.
Beauty. Okay. John D writes to us saying,
Hey, John.
Robbie mentioned before protecting against DDoS.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, another podcast mentioned it that very same week when you were talking about it. The site was the host of DDoS.
DDoS is
DDoS did?
distributed denial of service. It's an attack where a whole bunch of computers are generating traffic on your server in an attempt to bring down the server. Right. So if your server is used to being able to handle, say, 1,000 requests a second, and all of a sudden it's getting bombarded by 1 million,
right.
What happens? Legitimate traffic can't get onto your website. So if they're being DDoSed, it means a lot of computers are attacking it all at once.
I was just confused by the verb tense of DDoSed.
Past tense of a distributed denial of service attack.
Yeah. So, sorry, guys. The verb...
Us geeks, we make up words based on acronyms.
Anyways, so you were just wondering what is involved in protecting against such an attack, if it doesn't reveal too much.
And are we talking about servers then, I guess? Not really mentioning. Now, a DDoS is generally not going to happen to a workstation, right? Your computer... I mean, I shouldn't really generalize like that, but really, there's no reason that anyone would DDoS a computer if you're just an average Joe user. What a DDoS is built to do is to try to compromise networks and websites, web hosting providers, and things like that. So if I, for example, host a website that is a government website or a podcast that is competing with another podcast, and so we get DDoSed because maybe we're
better, duh,
something like that.
So they're trying to take you out.
So does that mean So does that mean that somebody is sitting there and going, I want to attack your server. I want Category 5 got DDoSed, so that means somebody attacked Category 5. Well, realistically, these days, in today's web infrastructure, people get infected with viruses. And those viruses simply seek out vulnerable web servers. So this is done through IP address port scans. So servers are found that just happen to be exploitable, and then these viruses, which may be on 10,000 computers all at once, now say, let's hit that IP address because that one's vulnerable. So it could be completely anonymous, as is the case with a lot of hack attacks these days. Now, that said, there are a lot of times when, if it's, say, a government website, it's probably more specifically targeted at that website, just using that as an example, versus the guy who's running a blog and is getting DDoSed attacked. Right? It's not likely to be targeted in that instance. So how do you protect yourself? Your server has to have good firewalling. I had a customer who said, I've got antivirus and still my websites are getting attacked. They got a Windows IIS server, and that server is constantly coming under attack, and it's vulnerable because there are so many attack vectors that can be hit. Now, I don't use Windows for serving anything. All my servers are going to be Linux-based, and that's why Linux is predominant in the web server arena, and there's a reason for that. It's not just because, hey, we like free stuff when we build servers. No, it's really robust, and it's really it's not it's a little different because it's not a desktop operating system running as a server. In quite a few cases, for example, my server, there's no monitor on it. It's called a headless server. So there's no desktop. If you were to plug in a monitor, it'd just be a black screen with letters on it. It basically old school DOS, if you will, if you're familiar with that interface as far as the look of it. So on that server, on your Linux server, you can look at things like CSF/LFD, using IP tables to automatically determine if somebody's trying to hack into that server or attack that server through DDoS. And then what it does is it blocks the IP addresses of the users who are subjecting you to that attack, or port scans and things like that. Yeah. So that's helpful, but in those instances, the attack is still getting to the server. So CSF, LFD, IP tables will block the attack as it's happening, but the traffic is still it's still getting to the server. So there's still CPU resources being used in order to thwart that attack, and that's sometimes how they can take you down. So then the next step, so it's a tiered kind of protection thing. The next step is your firewall. So when your server is connected to the internet, it has to be connected through something. You're probably not just plugging it in directly to the internet. You've got a hardware firewall, right? So with a good, robust firewall, say it be a monowall or something along those lines, you're going to be able to set up filtering of types of traffic, make sure that you're protecting your server so that some of that traffic will actually stop when it gets to the firewall, and it will never actually get to the server, right? So then the server is not serving up any resources. It's already thwarted before it gets there. Okay. Then the next step is something that never even allows that traffic to reach your network. That's where something, for example, a really good example is Cloudflare. Okay, so if you go to cloudflare.com, it uses DNS redirects in order to thwart the attack at the DNS level. So when I go to sashadermatis.com,
She's got her own site?
she does. I love your new blog, by the way, Sasha.
Wow.
Thank you.
I gotta check this out.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Can I try zooming in on
Yeah, could you?
I just want to see.
Whoa.
There we
You
go.
did it.
I did.
And there's the auto exposure. Someone was mentioning the auto exposure. See, because when you zoom in, it flickers a little bit.
Oh, okay.
That's the auto exposure.
Okay, I'm
there.
new
Okay.
to the cameras, everybody.
You're doing great.
Okay.
Thanks, buddy.
So sorry, her site, yes.
So when I go to sashadermatis.com, the traditional thing would be DNS says her server's at this IP address and serves up the website. Well, that's really, really vulnerable because it's a direct target for that. So instead, sashadermatis.com, the DNS record points to Cloudflare. Cloudflare then filters based on they're a content distribution network, so they're able to use a huge amount of processing power that I would never be able to afford. I couldn't have that many computers. Like, imagine the power of Amazon at your fingertips. It's such a powerful network of computers. So they look at things like, hey, have we seen this IP address before? Has this IP address ever tried to hack a server before? Is this coming from a malicious person? Are they doing something malicious? Are they trying to port scan? They will determine that stuff before it forwards it to my firewall.
Smart.
And Cloudflare will then stop that traffic if it deems it to be malicious, or if it's regular traffic, like you going to sashadermatis.com, it's going to just let you through. And because it's a content distribution network, it does it very quickly because they also have caching. So there are 3 different levels to that type of protection for a DDoS attack. That's a real simple rundown, but it starts at the DNS level, works to your firewall, and then gets to your server. There have to be at least those 3 levels in order to protect yourself.
All right. Thank you for your answer.
My pleasure. Thanks for the question.
Yeah, I loved getting that. That was a good one. Next question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, movie buff is...
I can't actually do it, so I have to make the sound effects. Anybody have any celery?
Oh, my word. Question from Movie Buff.
Hey, movie buff.
Well, actually, more of like a statement / a consideration.
All
wondering, firstly, loves the show.
Wow. Thanks.
Wondering about some of these cameras as potential options for the studio.
Okay.
Which is funny.
I would start with one that has a reliable power supply. Although battery backup is a good option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, both these cameras have clean HDMI outputs. We got a Panasonic FZ1000, Sony A5100,
nice,
Panasonic GH4, and Sony X70.
Listing off a bunch of these are 4K cameras.
4 potential. Yeah, I don't know, just some considerations maybe.
Sure. Now, of course, we want to upgrade our cameras big time. We're doing the stepping stone thing, and we appreciate those of you who have contributed. And even this week, we've had contributions come in specifically to help us upgrade to a 4K
Oh,
camera.
that's great.
So right now we're using a 1080p DSLR, a Nikon D5100 that has the Nikon Hacker firmware, and it works great. The power supply's dead. Did I mention that? Okay, so looking at this list, so these are some of the cameras that are being recommended to look at by MovieBuff.
Yeah.
So starting with, what's the first one?
Panasonic FZ1000.
Okay, so the FZ1000, the DSLR that we're using right now has a 1-inch sensor.
Okay.
So it's a full-size optical sensor, very good quality, and we're going to pull in a lot of light. The FZ1000 has a sensor that is about a quarter of that size, so it's actually a much, much smaller image sensor. So even though you're getting 4K video recording and 4K output over HDMI, the sensor is so small that the quality of that 4K video is actually quite potentially going to be less than the quality of our 1-inch sensor at 1080p. So when you think about scaling, considering the show is 720p, because of the size of that sensor, to shrink that down to 720p would be lesser quality, less sensor data
Right.
than our 1-inch 1080p sensor. Okay, so that would be an automatic no. I wouldn't go with that camera, the FZ1000. And the sensor is a big deal. Think of this when phones first introduced 1080p video. How good was the quality compared to, say, 1080p DSLR? Right? Think about that. Think about the sensor size and the quality difference between those two examples. So I may have an iPod that boasts 1080p video, and it, for what it is, it's okay. It does pretty good. It's nice to have for the convenience of it, and same thing goes for things like the GoPro and stuff like that. But the quality is so much less than, say, a DSLR with a larger sensor that it's noticeable, even though the resolution is the same. So the file size, the visual resolution is the same, but the sensor is not. Next camera was the A5100,
Yes.
which will be much more expensive. So out of our price range, like looking at the next one on the list, the GH4 would be a nice DSLR 4K camera body. Cost about $2,000 plus another $1,000 for the lens.
Right.
So it's pretty pricey as well. You can get cheaper lenses. We could probably find some Corec stuff or something that's pretty universal that would work on that camera. But it is still fairly expensive. But that's probably the way I would lean. The GH4 has exceptional image quality. You know that the new studio with Hack 5? Is it Hack 5? Yeah, sorry. I'm getting confused with shows. But
There's so
Hack
much going
5
on.
put in some GH4s. They look great. They're recording at 1080p. So, you know, how you do it. So with the 4K, we could do a lot more. And the nice thing about a 4K is that we could do digital zoom. For example, I could zoom in on me right now, or you as you're talking, digitally. But because we have a 4K shot to work with, we can move around in there losslessly, and we'd have a perfect image, and it would look really, really great, even without having a camera guy here tonight.
Yeah.
So, although you're doing a great job, Sasha. She's frowning. She's like,
it's
I did a
what
great
about-
job.
I
What are
am
you
so
talking
scared
about?"
of zooming in and focusing, and
I'd be more afraid of the battery dying.
well,
That's the number one
for
fear.
me, that's the relief. Then I don't have to deal with the camera anymore. It's up to you.
Yeah. So all that to say, Movie Buff, thank you for your contributions to the thought processes that go into these kind of plans. Really, a lot of consideration goes into purchase decisions here.
Totally.
We have to be very wise with, and I do my absolute best to be a good steward of the money that is provided to us by our viewers through donations and advertising, and we do our best to make the show look and sound as good as possible with the budget that we have. So I really look at the price versus, because that Panasonic entry level 4K is really cheap. $2,000 or $1,800 for a camera that has the lens built in and everything, and it's camcorder form factor, but the quality is a real. Unfortunately, the sensor just says no. So we take so many things into consideration, and that's a big part of it. So check out my blog, baldnerd.com. Even though some of the information is looking dated as far as the date on the blog goes, when it comes to upgrading our camera on Category 5. Just note that the reason that it's getting older is simply because we're trying to raise a lot of money.
Yeah.
So it's been an ongoing process, and that those funds are slowly trickling in. So you can help with that if you've got the means to throw 1,000 or 10,000 our way. Then feel free. You know,
We'd love it.
That would
We'd
be
love
fine,
it.
and we'll just go GH4 all the way. Or maybe you know what, the ideal camera would be the new Studio 4K from Blackmagic. That's a beautiful camera for our kind of environment. Nice thing about the GH4 though is that you can also take it out in the field. That's kind of a bonus.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Thank you for your email and for thinking of us and help us get our gears going and the new improvements, all that is happening with the show on a daily basis, a weekly basis. Man, it's just like wild, all this stuff. So thanks for your email.
Appreciate it. All right, we're going to jump over to the newsroom. Sasha?
Hello, it's Tuesday, April 14th, 2015, and here are the stories we're covering this week. Out-of-date WordPress plugins are being exploited to deface websites with images connected with ISIS. Ubuntu Mate is going to start coming pre-installed on select laptops, desktops, and other computing devices in the UK. Amazon is taking legal action against sites that pay people to post reviews on Amazon sites. With concerns about what they might be using the world's most powerful supercomputer for, the US government has denied Intel the ability to sell their chips to China. And LinkedIn has purchased Lynda for $1.5 billion. These stories are coming right up. Don't go anywhere.
Thanks, Sasha. Okay. Whoa. Very slow transition there. I forgot to change the camera. All right, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Where are you going to host your website?
I don't know.
cat5.tv/dreamhost. Why? Do you like a good deal?
I love a good deal.
$70
No.
per year.
No way.
We'll get you unlimited hosting space, unlimited email accounts with unlimited hosted space in those email accounts on a Linux server with Apache, MySQL, PHP, all the fixins, everything's up to date. You've got automatic installers of popular software like WordPress, and Sasha was saying that we're going to be talking about WordPress, keeping it up to date. Well, they even will automatically update your WordPress blog for you so that it keeps it up to date. On top of that, they throw in 50 gigabytes of backup storage for your home computers and things like that, personal files. It's offsite backup, absolutely free. So if you've got your home photos and things like that, that's available to you and provided at no extra cost. You can also host an unlimited number of domain names at this account. The only extra cost is just buying buying the domain name itself, which you can also do through them. Unlimited bandwidth, and it's all $70 per year.
Maybe I'll do HillaryRumble.com.
Well, we'll give it to you for free. HillaryRumble.com. Just now somebody's going to go register it. But we will give you a free.com as well. So check it out, cat5.tv/dreamhost. Make sure you use the coupon code CAT5TV at checkout. Sasha, back to you.
I'm Sasha Dermatis, and here are the top stories from the Category 5.tv newsroom. The U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigations is urging WordPress users to patch plugins for the popular content management system following a spat of ISIS-branded website attacks. The warning from the FBI follows a number of website defacements in March that affected U.S. and European organizations, ranging from government to community websites, which saw them plastered with images and claims the attackers were linked to the extremist group known as ISIS or ISIL. According to the FBI, the attackers are sympathizers of ISIS, but otherwise not members of the terrorist organization. Holy Robbie, this is really scary. Now, luckily for me, my WordPress is always up to date, mostly thanks to you. Not necessarily thanks to me, but I can't even imagine ISIS getting on in.
Well, and here's the thing. We touched on this a little bit earlier tonight on Category 5 Technology TV, talking about how these kinds of attacks, even though the news... And we try not to spin it that way, but it is just a news story that we're covering, spins it in such a way that it sounds targeted, like ISIS is putting this up on your website. Well, no, it's very unspecific. They found vulnerable WordPress websites using scripts and bots that go out on Google, go out on Bing and whatever, and they find sites that are running WordPress, and it's easy to compromise a site running WordPress if it's out of date. So it's not a specific attack whatsoever. That kind of attack happens just because you're out of date, and that's why you need to keep your WordPress blog absolutely current.
Oh. Hey, do you want to hear some great Linux news?
Do I ever?
Despite a plethora of fantastic desktop Linux distributions, only a select few are available to buy pre-installed on laptops, desktops, and other computing devices. Ubuntu Mate, the most recent member of the Ubuntu family, joins this esteemed club. It has announced a partnership with UK-based computer reseller Entroware. The deal will see Tux enthusiasts able to purchase Entroware laptops and desktop PCs with Ubuntu Mate pre-installed and with full support from the company. Both Entroware and the team behind Ubuntu Mate say that they are excited by the partnership. This is a great thing, isn't it, Robbie?
Yeah, I think it's exciting because, to be able to walk in, not necessarily walk into a physical box store, but actually be able to buy a prefab computer that has Linux on it. And Mate is, of course, and I told her to say Mate, folks, for those of you who are like, it's Mate. Put an accent. So we're Canadian, right? If it doesn't have an accent, it's Mate. Just the impact that has on the Linux using community and the ability to get your hands on a computer for cheap that it doesn't have the license of Microsoft Windows. I think that's brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Not only is it Mate, but it's all in cap lock, so I should be yelling it. It's like, Mate!
It's Ubuntu Mate!
It's exactly.
I like
not
Mate because I am an old
Mate
school user. I like the whole GNOME 2 interface and the way that it works. That's just the way I roll.
I'm happy. Amazon has sued 4 firms that pay people to produce reviews that appear on the online retailer's site. The company alleges that the paid opinions undermine its review system, which customers believe come from unbiased sources. Amazon is seeking damages from the 4 sites and wants them to stop producing the reviews. Amazon alleges that the paid reviews were being placed on its site at a slow rate designed to outwit the detection system it ran to spot such content. In its legal papers, Amazon said it verified its allegations by surreptitiously paying one of the services to write reports about the products. This resulted in them getting glowing reviews. Since the legal action was filed, 2 of the sites named have gone offline. Those still operating have yet to comment. You know what I was thinking? Is that maybe the glowing reviews were warranted. Maybe the items were actually really great.
Just maybe.
You never know, right?
Yeah.
Amazon's smart and they are really honest, I feel. So they found people saying really great things about them and they're suing them. So that's kind of awesome. I think.
You know what it is, though?
What?
You know what happens is that companies will hire people to go and post fake reviews. And so, if I was a manufacturer and I could pay, it's kind of how Lady Gaga paid to have a whole bunch of people watch her music videos on YouTube so that the view count would go up. Well, yeah, they're legitimate views, possibly, but you're buying them, so it's dishonest, and you're exploiting the technology in order to make your channel look good. So to post reviews that are just paid for is pretty unfair to the guy who's posting legitimate reviews, for sure.
However, if you are a camera company and want to give us a camera, we will review it
positively.
Give you a great
That's different. That's
review.
different because we will actually try the product and give an honest, unbiased review. But we'll give you 5 out of 5 stars if it's a 4K.
The U.S. government has refused to let Intel help China update the world's biggest supercomputer. Intel applied for a license to export tens of thousands of chips to update the Tianyi 2 computer. The Department of Commerce refused, saying it was concerned about nuclear research being done with that machine. Separately, Intel has signed a $200 million deal with the U.S. government to build a massive supercomputer at one of its national laboratories. The Tianyi 2 uses 80,000 Intel Xeon chips to generate a computational capacity of more than 33 petaflops. A petaflop is equal to about 1 quadrillion calculations per second. Fast. According to the Top 100, an organization that monitors supercomputers, the Tianyi-2 has been the most powerful machine for the past 18 months. This year, the Chinese machine was due to undergo a series of upgrades to boost its number crunching abilities past the 110 petaflops. The upgrade would largely depend on new Intel Xeon chips. The chipmaker informed the U.S. authorities of its involvement with the upgrade program and was told to apply for an export license. Although Intel has been denied the chance to sell its Xeon chips to China, the company has signed a large deal to build an Aurora supercomputer at the Argonne National Laboratory in Illinois. When finished, that machine is expected to have a peak performance of 180 petaflops.
Wow.
Petaflop is my word of the day. I can't even imagine why you would need computational superpowers such as that, except I'm not.
Maybe you're thwarting or creating DDoS attacks.
Dun, dun.
Oh, this is true. 180 million or something petaflops. LinkedIn is trying to boost the business content it offers to its 3 million users and has purchased the online learning business Lynda for $1.8 billion. Lynda, based in California, has made hundreds of videos that teach subscribers everything from coding to business skills. Oh, I could learn some coding, maybe on Category 5. Subscribers...
We'll give it to you for free.
Exactly. Subscribers pay $375 per year to access the tutorials. Although the company was founded nearly 20 years ago, it has expanded rapidly in the past 2 years, adding several languages to its video offerings and increasing outside investments. Shares in LinkedIn rose more than 1.5% on the New York Stock Exchange after the news of the acquisition was released. So there you go. I mean, maybe somebody will buy Category 5 Technology TV for $1.5 billion some point. Not for sale, though.
We're not for sale.
No, we love it here. For all your tech news with a slight Linux bias, visit the Category5.tv newsroom at newsroom.category5.tv. For the Category5.tv newsroom, I'm Sasha Dermatis.
Thank you, Sasha. This is Category 5 Technology TV. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Robbie Ferguson.
And I'm Hillary Rumble, hanging out today and asking the tough questions.
We're still on battery power. The battery has not died.
Yes.
So we're like, should we change the battery? We'll see. We'll just let it go. As soon as it shuts off, we'll know.
Then we'll know, yeah.
Ready with more questions?
Oh, yeah.
Great.
All right, here we go. Graham, wondering
Hey, Graham.
about using Wirecast to record and stream a live event. Will I be able to use three DSLR cameras as my cameras in Wirecast and then switch between?
Yes, if you have the appropriate hardware to do so. So you would need to have 3 capture devices. So, for example, we use the Magewell capture cards. So you want to make sure that these are internal PCI Express cards, most likely, rather than external USB devices. The reason for that is that USB is a resource hog as far as your CPU goes. So if you had 3 HD capture devices plugged into USB, you're going to max out your USB bandwidth, and it's going to just shut off and not work. If it does work, it will not work well. So the alternative is to install these internal cards. They're PCI Express, and they're easy to install. You just have to make sure that your motherboard has the support for multiple PCI Express cards.
Okay.
So I believe they're X1s in most cases. We use a 4K capture card, which is an X4, but a 1080p card would be an X1. So you're only going to need X1 slots on your motherboard. So look at the specs if you're not familiar with that. It's basically the small version of PCI Express. So that would work. Yeah, and Telestream Wirecast, of course, gives you camera switching with all of your camera sources. So whether they be HDMI, you could throw a desktop presenter shot on there as well. What is it that they're filming?
Just said a live event.
A live event.
Gave no indication.
So if it's a sporting event, Telestream Wirecast, which you can download a free trial for at cat5.tv/wirecast. It supports live tickers as well, so that you can actually have scoreboards embedded into your video.
Cool.
So that's all part of
That's
Wirecast,
neat. That's
right?
really cool.
So that's really neat. In addition, if you're doing an event where there are screens involved, I'm thinking things like a presentation where you've got PowerPoint or something like that. You can install Desktop Presenter on that particular computer, and then you can pull in that computer screen as a source as well.
Yeah.
And then you can switch to that when the PowerPoint or whatever it is that you've got going on. Whenever you want to do it. Nice thing about DSLR is that they are available fairly cheap. They take really good picture, video, and you can put a nice long telephoto lens on there fairly cheaply. And you can get from, you can get up there hundreds of feet with perfect lossless quality. So you just need somebody to operate the camera, turn off the autofocus because DSLR autofocus is terrible, and then see what you come up with. It'll be pretty great.
Sasha's willing to come and man your camera at your event.
I would just like to point out that every single question, I think, so far has been about cameras.
Well, we love cameras.
Isn't that fun?
It's just
This is why the
uncanny.
show is starting, folks. We've got the show
show.
coming soon to our Roku channel, and also there will be a website for it. You can get there through category5.tv.
Cool.
And the show, when it launches, is going to be all about broadcasting. I love your questions. And some of these questions will probably go on to the show as well.
Totally. Beauty. Well, thanks for your question.
Thank you.
Got another question from Dennis Kelly regarding a USB mouse.
Hey, DK.
I'm running Linux Mint 17, and sometimes my generic wireless mouse stops working. It seems like all USB ports are not working. Is there a way to restart the USB ports on my laptop? It's a Dell Inspiron.
I'm going to just let her...
3137. What do I do?
Okay, so it's a Dell laptop. Inspiron. It's mistyped, to be fair.
Okay, that's I
Dennis
thought
Kelly.
I thought it was Inspiron, but like, what do I know, right? I just read the questions.
It's all good. Okay, so Mint 17, I believe, uses UDEV. So you could go into the terminal. Now, if your USB itself dies, do you still have keyboard? That's what I'm wondering. So if it's only the mouse dies, then I wonder if it's if it's a wireless mouse, if you've got interference, or if your battery is low, if you need to hit the connect button, something along those lines. If it's not wireless and you lose USB entirely, I don't know how you would type. So perhaps you could create a shortcut. No, you wouldn't even be able to control your mouse. How would you do it? How would you do it, man? Like, I can tell you, okay, go into terminal and type /etc/init.d/udev, UDEV, space, reload, or possibly restart, depending on the nature of the crash. That will restart your UDEV service and should reconnect your USB devices. But how would you type if you've got a USB keyboard and USB is dead? It would almost seem like your computer's frozen, but it's still going.
Throw it out and get a new one. That's my answer.
Keep a PS2 keyboard handy. Keep it plugged in at all times so that you can type that. And I would say create a shortcut.
The keyboard is working, though. He just told me.
Okay, so it's not USB. It's the mouse or the port. Because your USB in your computer most likely is all on the same bus, my man. It's really only the higher end stuff that has multiple USB buses, and well, unless you've got USB 2 and USB 3 ports, and your keyboards are plugged into a different port. Your keyboard is plugged into a different bus than your mouse. So try different ports. Keep in mind that if they're on top of each other, they're guaranteedly on the same bus. So if they are plugged in on top of each other, then okay, well, this has got to be the mouse because the ports are on the same bus. It's not the bus that's crashed, it's the mouse. Possibly the mouse driver, which would be odd.
It's funny because
it's the simplest device in the universe.
You're talking about a bus and a mouse, so I
like beep beep.
A mouse driving a bus.
Yeah. Exactly.
So my advice was correct, is what you're saying. Throw it out and get a new
the bus in the USB lane.
Crash the bus.
I hope everybody's okay.
Dennis.
Okay, now I see why this gets confusing. Yeah.
When a little mouse is driving a school bus, who knows what's going on? Okay, sorry, back to biz. Dennis is saying, I do have 2.0 and 3.0. I did try plugging into other ports.
Yes, and it didn't come back.
throw it out.
Your mouse, when it crashes, unplug it, plug it into a different port. Does it come back? If it doesn't, we know that it's the driver, the module that is running your mouse, if the keyboard continues to work. Because if you're plugging it into a different bus, UDAV should say, oh, there's a mouse, and it will detect it and it will start working. If that doesn't happen, the module that's running the mouse, whatever that may be, depends on the mouse, is crashed. So maybe there's a module that you need to blacklist. It's impossible for me to guess at it, right? You might need to get into the forums on Mint 17 and ask them, you know, what you need to do. Try a different mouse, because it could be a different mouse driver, and see if that resolves the situation for you.
Get a new bus driver.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Sorry I don't have a definitive for you, DK, but hopefully that kind of lets you see some of the things that it could...
Potential.
There's some ways to troubleshoot it. Have another mouse on hand. When it crashes, unplug the old mouse, plug in the other one, and see if that one comes up.
Worth a try.
Yeah.
Thanks for your question.
And
Hope
try
it all works
restarting
out
your
for
desk.
you.
Yeah. Good luck. I have been no help whatsoever.
It's okay.
All right.
It's all good. Another question. Let's motor through here. Life of Pi is writing to us from
Life
North
of Pi.
Carolina.
It sounds like a movie title. I love it.
Might have heard it before. Maybe yes, maybe no. I would like to write a program for my son's homeschool program to calculate his grades the lazy way. I guess what I'm saying is input his grades in and then let the program calculate them day by day. What do you think is the best program to use for such a thing?
So you just want to take your child's grades and
guess
punch them into the
so.
system? Write a program. Okay, I'm confused by the question a little bit, because I would like to write a program, which is complicated,
True.
and I would like to find the easy way.
Confusing.
So it's which do you want? Do you want it complicated or not complicated?
Calculator.
Yeah.
Excel
Here you go.
spreadsheet.
All right, problem solved. That's exactly what I wanted to suggest, is install LibreOffice and use Calc. Right? It's free software. It's a spreadsheet, just like Excel. And set up a nice spreadsheet that does the calculations automatically. So if you're not familiar with Excel, you can, and I say Excel, it's really all, the sum formulas and things like that. It's all the same, but depending on, whatever program you use. LibreOffice Calc is the program that I would start with, and you don't have to do any programming other than just creating your sums and the equations that figure things out. Give that a go.
Beauty.
Let me know, okay? Because I'd be happy to even just show you a couple of ideas on how to do that.
It's a good one.
Good
Thank you.
suggestion. That was your suggestion. You answered the question.
I've answered 2 questions. 1, throw out your mouse, and 2, spreadsheet.
Very good.
Hillary Show. Okay. Another question. We can pump this out for sure.
All right.
Okay, Chicago. Oh, Waddell Brooks. Waddell Brooks.
Hey, Waddell.
In one of your videos on stream, you connected multiple PCs or cameras to a PC.
Another
Sorry.
camera question. Way to go.
I picked it specifically for this very reason.
yeah.
Can you tell me the name of the equipment the camera was plugged into?
Okay. In one of my videos, which will remain a mystery, out of the 395 hours of video that you happen to have uploaded in the past 7 years.
It must be recent because the email just came in recently.
Okay.
So let's think back to
we
recent technology we own.
You connected multiple cameras to a PC. I'm guessing, would that have been the Wirecast 1080p demonstration?
Maybe. That's
Using
fairly
Wirecast
recent.
with multiple 1080p webcams. We were using some Microsoft Life cams. So those were Life cams, which you can get through our shop if you could, because they're decent enough. They take fairly good video.
Oh, yeah.
We're using a Life cam, or not a Life cam. We're using the C920 now from Logitech for the newsroom. It tends to take a little bit nicer video. But as far as the hardware goes, it's our broadcast server. If you've got a Roku, you can check out the entire build. It's like 8 hours long, but it's fantastic. You learn all the parts that are inside of that server. It's getting aged now. It was a decent server at the time, but it's still running the show and still doing a good job and holding its own. It's I believe a quad-core Intel i7 with 16 gigs of RAM, if I recall correctly. We've since switched all to solid-state drives. It's all 500 or higher megabytes per second write. So our writing speed is critical because of the way we save the streams to disk. Beyond that, it's the USB buses, I guess, with the webcams. I mentioned about needing to, when you use HDMI cameras, you have to have 3 different HDMI inputs for 3 different HDMI cameras, right? And I should mention, maybe look at the deck link too. In that just came to mind. I believe you can get one that has 4 inputs. So that's just a digression. But with USB, it's a little different because it's such a high CPU hogger. Okay. If you have 3 webcams all running simultaneously at 1080p, say, which is the resolution you're probably going to capture at with the current webcam, you are going to need a heck of a CPU. I don't have a CPU that would handle that. So we opt for HDMI. If you're going to do it with webcams, it's just going to cost too much in the CPU department. You have to also have individual buses. Got to have 3 buses. You have to have 3 different cards, all one for each camera. Okay, you have to have them on separate buses. That means separate lanes that allow the data to go through the computer. You cannot plug 3 webcams 1080p into the motherboard and hope for the best. It's going to shut off your USB. You're going to lose. You're going to overload the bandwidth, and it's just going to shut off. I also tend to, when I'm doing that, not only do I have separate buses, but I also use powered USB hubs, so that, and they have to be USB 3, so that the power that the camera is using is from the electrical outlet, as opposed to from the computer. Because the other thing to factor is that if you plug in 3 USB cameras into the computer, you're going to be drawing 15 volts, 5 volts per channel, right? Not 15 volts, but because it's all relative, but 5 volts, 5 volts, 5 volts.
Yeah.
And but you get the idea. Like you'd be pulling a lot of power from that computer too, which you want to avoid. So I hope that helps. I stay away from using too many webcams. We use 1 in the studio here. I wouldn't personally plug in more than that in a production environment.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. That's good.
Thanks for the question. Any other questions about cameras?
About cameras?
I'm kidding. Let's see if there's anything else for me.
We only got a few minutes, Robbie.
Oh, we only have 1 minute.
Well,
I even have to start the music now. And the battery lives on. Look at that.
Battery for the win.
I'm happy about that. Way to go, team. That's good. So we'll probably be on battery power for the next couple of weeks because it's going to take some time to get a new power unit for that camera.
Now we know it lasts an hour.
Now we know.
That's
and you know
good
what?
battery.
That is a fortunate thing. I think that is largely because we've got the 7-inch HDMI monitor on the camera. So the video preview is happening through a separate powered monitor. And a lot of the drain on the battery is probably the LCD display.
That's a good point.
So as soon as you plug in HDMI, it turns off the display, thereby saving power.
Thankfully, that worked out great.
I say that and it's going to die right now as we're signing off.
Wrap it up.
Well, thank you everybody for your questions. Thanks, Hillary, for helping me get through those.
Oh, that was a good show, guys.
And I do know that there are more, right? We didn't get through all of them. So if we didn't get to your questions tonight,
we will soon.
We will. We promise. We're going to do our absolute best to get through as many questions as we possibly can. Because this show is your show, and we want to help you out if we can. So thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. A new show is starting on Friday on the Category 5 TV network. It's called New Every Day, and it is starring our good friend, Carrie Webb. And also Jen Wagger is going to be on the show with her. Awesome. So you remember Carrie Webb from seasons 1 and 2 of Category 5 Technology TV. If you aren't familiar with her, check out episode number 300, where we went back in time with her and learned about where the show had come from. And tune in this Friday night, neweveryday.tv.
Perfect.
All right. Well, have a fantastic week, everybody.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
We hope you enjoyed the show. Category 5 TV broadcasts live from Barrie, Ontario, Canada every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you're watching this on demand or through cable TV, check out the local showtimes in your area at category5.tv and find out when you can watch live and interact in the community chat room. Category 5 is a production of Prodigy Digital Solutions and is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 2.5 Canada. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.